All right, good morning, everyone. Today is the, what is it? One moment, this 21st of December, Wednesday. The class is how to handle objections, or the framework of handling an objection. So take out your pen and papers, get ready to write this down. Today, we're gonna go over the framework of how to do it. Now, you guys, if you've been following me for a while, you already know my belief is the objection should be handled during the consultation. That's my belief. You should never run into a situation where you're face-to-face with a potential buyer, potential seller, if you've already had your consultation and then still run into objections. My belief is during that initial consultation, the first one, the buyer consultation or listing presentation, at the end of that conversation, you should already have handled every single objection that they might have. Commission, interest rate, payment, fees, price, everything should be handled within that presentation. So at the very end, it's a no-brainer to work with you. At the end of that presentation, it should just be a matter of whether they like you or not, or trust you. So that's my belief. But let's just say that doesn't happen. And for some reason, you catch yourself running into an objection from a buyer, from a seller. Well, you don't want to know what to say. You want to know the framework so that you can create the roadmap, but you just need to know how to get there. And that's what today's all about. Today's the framework of how to handle that objection, the way that I've been doing it. And it's scientific. This is the framework. This is how you get it done. No matter who you talk to, you might word it a little differently, but this is it. Okay, let's say we're running into a real popular objection right now, which is the interest rates with buyers, people freaking out and doing all that. So one of the fundamental things about objections, all of us have to understand that objections are unanswered questions. That's all they are. People just needed more information. They're worried, they're uncertain, they don't know. There's something still that you haven't fully answered. For example, all of us, when we moved over to EXP, now that we're here, it's pretty obvious that we should have been here a long time ago. But some of us didn't jump right away. Some of us took a little bit of time. Some of us didn't. Some of us jumped in because it made sense right away. But either way, you guys made the move and the decision because you were certain you did it. You knew it. You had all the questions answered. And if you're the person who didn't jump in right away, I challenge you to go back and figure out why that was. And the answer is because you were uncertain about something. You had an unanswered question. And it took a couple of appointments. It took a couple of meetings to get that figured out. Well, same with me. I had unanswered questions, unanswered doubts. And once I finally had all of them answered, I was certain and I made a decision and then I moved. Same thing with your prospect. They're uncertain about something. And sometimes they just might use the interest rate as a scapegoat so that they don't have to address the real issue. Or maybe your prospect doesn't even know what the real issue is. Listen to what I'm telling you. Your prospect may not even know what their own issue is. So now as a professional salesperson, you, Jasmine, Idema, Alondra, all of us on this call today and listening, have to understand that your prospect maybe doesn't even know. So make them feel comfortable during the conversation, bring their guard down. That's what being a professional salesperson is all about. It's the ability to build rapport and get people to bring their guard back down. That's what a high-level salesperson does. So what you need to do is, one, identify the personality type, who am I talking to, and then use the framework of how to handle the objection to get your customer to tell you everything. All right, so what does that look like? And again, we're not gonna go over personality types. We're just going to discuss the framework, but it is important on a side note that all of you go online and begin researching the different types of personality types that are out there. A, B, C, D, red, green, blue, yellow, dry, amiable, analytical, the other one, whatever you want to call them. There's different names for the personality types, but at the end of the day, there's 4. Because the way that you handle it, the way that you say the things, the how you say it is what's important when you're talking to each personality type, not the what. The what is the framework. The how is the delivery. And we all talked about in the previous sales class how important delivery is. But you need to know how to talk to the prospect. You be more direct with someone who's a high D. You give a little more numbers when you're talking to someone a little more analytical. When someone's a little more the bubbly personality type, the amiable, I think that is. No, it's the other one. But anyways, that personality type, you're a little more friendly, more fun. The other one, you're a little more safe and secure. You're treading the waters a little lightly. So it really depends how you say it when you're talking to a person. The framework, regardless of the objection that you're receiving, this is the framework that you're going to use. Write this down. The first step in handling the objection, I've got my notes, is to acknowledge and align. Acknowledge and align. Write that down. Your job is to acknowledge and align. So if someone says anything, you acknowledge it. Like, oh yeah, I hear what you're saying. You acknowledge it. And then you also align with it. I agree. So let's go back to this interest rates that we're seeing a lot of. Someone says, yeah, you know, we're probably just going to hold off because the interest rates are a little too high right now. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Terry. The interest rates are really high right now. It's pretty ridiculous how high they are, right? You know, depending on the personality that you're talking to. If it's some a little more direct, hey, you know, the interest rate's a little too high. My family and I just went up. And you know what? I agree. It's pretty freaking ridiculous how high these interest rates are. It's making everything unaffordable. I'll agree and align with them. Like, acknowledge and align. Acknowledge what they're saying. There was a study that was published a few years ago that I think it had to do with like divorce rates or breakup rates. It had to do with relationships. And the statistic was that a majority of people who broke up during that time frame did not feel heard. The other person in the relationship did not feel acknowledged. You know, in the Latino community, some of you Latinos, some of you are not, right? The old traditional machismo Mexican man sits there, drinks his beer, nods his head while he's eating his food, talking to his wife, and he's like, yeah, yep, sure, sounds good, yeah. And the wife's like, oh my gosh, da, 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 da. Right? So I paint a very picture because sometimes people just want to feel acknowledged. I want to feel heard. I want to feel like that I'm important. I want to know that you're listening to me. And that's been proven over studies that people don't feel that way. So this is why it's important for us as salespeople to align and acknowledge from this person that, yeah, I hear you loud and clear. I'm right there with you. So this is step number one. You're going to agree and align with what they're saying. Yeah, I totally get it, man. These interest rates are ridiculous right now, man. Can you believe it? Wow. And can you believe that people are buying houses in the 80s with 13%, 16%, 19% interest rates? Crazy, right? Like, you know, like align with them. And now that was a little over the top, but know your person who you're speaking to and know how to align with them. If it's someone like my personality type where I'm a high D, but I still have like some I inside of me where I'm very extrovert and friendly and I'm in a good mood, yeah, talk to me like that. Like, yo, Gabe, I totally get it, man. Like these interest rates are crazy right now. Back in the 80s, it was like 19. Yesterday, it was like 2%. Now it's like 5%. Crazy. So align and acknowledge. Step number one. Do we have any questions on step number one on how to acknowledge and align with your prospect when they throw any objection, but in this case, the interest rate objection that's really popular? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, forever hold your peace. Step number two, in the objection handling process, you're going to isolate it and then handle it. Step number two, isolate and handle the objection. What does that mean? Your prospect says, hey, the interest rates are really high. You acknowledge in the line, man, I can't believe that's just crazy right now, isn't it? Whatever, right? Isolate it. Hey, Gabe, or hey, Natalie, or hey, Alondra, hey, Steph. Other than the interest rate, is there anything else that's holding you back from buying? And there's no magic words on what to say. I don't want you guys to get caught up on the words right now. I want you to focus on the framework. You fill in the words with how you speak. Remember, words are only 7% of someone's decision-making ability. I care about you getting the framework and the delivery right. So the tonality needs to be there. Number two is isolate and handle. Hey, Natalie, besides the interest rate, is there anything else that's holding you and the family back right now? And I know Natalie's personality type, so this is how I would talk to her. I would like, hey, Natalie, so other than the interest rate, is there anything holding you and the family back from purchasing? I want to isolate that. I want to put that objection on an island far away, just by itself. Other than that interest rate, is there anything else that's holding you guys back, or is that it? No, well, maybe they say something else, maybe they don't, right? This is where you as a sales professional peel back the layers. And then you handle that. And you can also, this is a high level thing, and I'll teach you this in a second. When you isolate the objection and you put it on an island, take this side note right here, write this down. I want you guys to shift the script, which means redirect their frame, change their way of thinking, take what they told you and reframe it in a different way. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Many times it's the interest rates are really too high, right? That's the objection. And what I hear you telling me right now, Elizabeth, all right, so other than the interest rate, is there anything else? No, that's it. Okay. And what I hear you telling me right now, Elizabeth, is that this is you shifting the script and handling the objection, right here on step number 2. What I hear you telling me is that you guys are afraid of the markets, the rates are affecting monthly payments, and you don't know if you can afford the house right now. That's what I hear you saying to me. Is that right? And if you can peel back that layer and get to what they're really trying to say and reframe it, shift the script, tell them what you're taking them from focusing on an interest rate based conversation to now a payment conversation. So you're shifting the script while you're handling the objection. I did say this is a higher level kind of objection handling. If I go back to the steps, step number 1 is acknowledge and align. Number 2 is isolate and handle. Number 3 is shift the script. Number 4 is anchor the agreement. Number 5 is close. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm isolating, shifting while I'm handling. So at the same time, listen carefully, please. So back to the interest rate objection. Hey, awesome, isolate over there. So what I hear you telling me, Elizabeth, is that you're concerned about the payment and the payment being unaffordable and you not being able to buy what you want in this market. Is that right? Is that what I'm hearing you telling me? Yeah, that's what I'm hearing you say. And then when you're shifting and rehandling, you have to isolate one more time. Write that down. When you've taken their mind from interest rate to payment, or in a listing presentation, from commission to earn a net profit on the sale. Listing presentation, it's going to be, oh, my commission is this. Oh, that's great. What I hear you telling me is that you guys are really concerned about what you're going to walk away with, because you need that money to move to the next house. You need this. So I'm shifting the script. I'm taking you from here and I'm moving you over there. When I shift that script and I get you to agree with me, yeah, so what I hear you telling me is that you're focused on the payment. Is that right? And you're afraid that you're not going to be able to afford or purchase the property you want to buy it due to the interest rates. Is that right? Yes, that's correct. Other than not being able to afford that the payment, is there anything else that's holding you guys back? Or I would even do like an assumptive close in this point. Hey, besides that, what else are you guys thinking? What else are you feeling? I know there's more. Let me know what's going on. And now you get them to start talking about their true fears, true pains, and you're writing this down now. Again, back to the fundamental of human psychology. At a very core level, all of us want to have acknowledgement. All of us want to have significance. Finally, Jasmine is taking time out of her day to listen to someone else and how they feel. So you're sitting there on the Zoom presentation, you're sitting across the table from them, you have your notepad out with the pen in your hand, and you're listening with very sincere eyes. Your body language changes a little bit to where like you're feeling them out and you want them to open up to you. So yeah, interest rates are really crazy high. I can't believe how dumb that is. Wow. Other than that, is there anything else? No, there's nothing else. Okay, listen, hey, so Stephanie, what I hear you telling me is that due to the interest rates, you're afraid that the payments are too high and you won't be able to afford the house that you guys were looking for initially. Is that right? Yeah, Gabe, you know what? That's really what it is, man. It comes down to the payment. I don't know if we can afford it anymore. Hey, look, I totally get it. Yeah, I would be concerned about the payment as well. But listen, other than that, what else is holding you guys back? The payment, what else? And encourage them to speak. And then you see how I isolated the objection. Other than that, what else? Put it on an island by itself. So visually in their head, what ends up happening is a person will push that thought that was in the front of their cerebral cortex, right in the front of it. It'll push it back somewhere else in their brain where it's no longer a big concern. This is what you want to get them to do, because right now their focus and attention is on that one thing. Put it on an island by saying, other than that, is there anything else? Well, no, there's not. Okay, great. So now you have that. Once I've shifted the script on that second objection handler, when I've reframed it and I've isolated it again, then you move on to the next one. And that's how you handle it. And then you anchor the agreement. Okay, so now this is where you as salespeople are going to have to listen very carefully. This is the part I would need you to all listen very carefully. Anchoring the agreement, getting them to agree with your way of thinking. You just shifted the script. You got them off of their focal point, You reframed it and told them it was something else. It's not commission, it's net. It's not interest rate, it's payment. Is that right? Yes, because you can't, so anyways, you focus on that. And then you get them to agree with you. So, hey, listen, so if I can get you guys, if I can help market this property and we can get the buyer to pay their own closing costs and X, Y, Z and do this, that's what you guys are ultimately looking for, right? And that's what you want. Yeah, that's what I'm looking to do. If I can help you find the property, that 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and still make it affordable for you guys with that payment, regardless of what the interest rates are doing, that's ultimately what you guys want, right? Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Yeah, you know what, Gabe? That's really what we're looking for right now, man. We really want someone that can do that. Okay, I got you, bro. All right, say less. Here's what we're going to do next. We're going to complete this presentation. We're going to go through all the paperwork, get everything signed. And then afterwards, I'm going to reconnect you with a couple of different brokers that I know. And let's just go over some options. And let's see where we can get your payment with the least loan options. Because keep in mind, and this is me talking to the client, keep in mind, not every single lender that you speak to is going to offer the same program, same rates. People are going to offer different things. So let me take you and go give you different options. That's me taking them out of her, helping them reinforce that agreement. And they're like, does that sound good? You know what? That sounds really good. Let's go do that. Okay, cool. I future paced them. I told them, let's complete this presentation. Let's go ahead and we're going to go through all the paperwork and get everything signed. And then afterwards, I'm going to handle the objection and afterwards, I'm going to find the solution to the problem that you told me you had. And then continue the presentation. I get everything signed. And at the very end, we ended on a happy note. This is the framework to hand, and then you close afterwards, sign and get everything signed and move on. Get your buyer broker agreement signed, you get your listing presentation, you get your listing agreement signed, close it at the very end, and then go work on the solution for them. Back to the framework one more time, and we'll open up for questions. Number one, you have to acknowledge and align. Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. Commission objection, or it's an interest rate objection. Hey, yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, I know, right? Crazy, 6%. Can you believe some of these agents out here charge 7%? Can you believe some of these agents have the audacity to charge 2%? I can't believe, how do you market a property with that? That's crazy. Totally get that. And other than the commission, is there anything else that's holding you guys back from moving forward today? Other than that interest rate, is there anything that's holding you back guys from buying today? Then number two, isolate and handle. You isolate, shift the script, handle. So other than that, is there anything else? No. Okay. So what I hear you guys telling me, is it's not, you guys are really concerned about how much money you're going to make on the sale. You're really concerned about that payment, what it's going to look like every single month. You're really concerned that you're not going to be able to find a home within your comfortable budget range. Is that right? Yeah, that's really what it is. Okay, got it. Well, here's what so now you've isolated it. It's by itself. There's nothing more. The last thing that you want to do in sales is have the objection, handle it, get ready to close one more time after you've anchored the agreement, and then them tell you, well, there's one more thing. That's the last thing you want to do, because now you're taking this customer to this roller coaster. Can you do it? Absolutely. You have to have high energy, be very optimistic, and you need to be very fluid in your objection handling abilities if that were to happen. A professional will never let it get to the end and then have another one come up. A professional will pull everything from that buyer right there in that moment. And the way that you pull everything out of that buyer or seller in that moment is by asking questions. Is there anything else? What else would stop you guys from buying this home today? Other than the commission and not having enough money, what else would stop you guys from selling this house? Ask these important questions that pull more out of people. And I didn't teach you today how to ask those questions that are digging deeper. Today, I'm teaching you the framework of how to handle it and make sense in your head. And then I'm going to answer questions that help you implement it. But there are questions when you're asking these clients to pull out more of the objections. Besides that payment that you're looking for, what else is holding you guys back? I'm sure there's a couple of other things on your mind. What else is it? And you're wanting to pull these things out of them in that moment so you can isolate every objection and you can handle it all. Okay, so that's back to that. So acknowledge, align, you're going to isolate and shift the script. You can handle it, anchor the agreement, and then you close it. Acknowledge and align. I hear you, and I'm on your side. You isolate and shift the script. Other than that, is there anything else? Isolate the thing? No, then you're going to shift and handle. Okay, so what I hear you telling me is this, is that right? Okay, so what we really need to focus on right now is the payment. And this is what we're going to do to handle the payment. We're going to talk to X, we're going to talk to this lender, we're going to do this because these lenders don't do that. Does that make a lot of sense for you? And again, I'm only asking questions that end in a yes answer. I want them to start agreeing with me. Those are called anchoring points, when you're anchoring them down. That's the next thing you want to get a bunch of yes answers. And then after you anchor the agreement, You close it up and you move on to and then you move on to the solution afterwards and get the contract signed. That is the framework for handling any objection in life. What questions do you guys have on any segment of it?
None. That was awesome.
Liz, anything? Alondra, anything? Irma, Catherine, Jasmine's? Anything? Anyone have any questions? Terry, Jeanette, Janet? I mean, I'm saying Jeanette. Oh my gosh.
Gabe, I just have a quick question. When it comes to, like books, are there like any, like, certain books that you would recommend that are really good,
For what topic?
like learning and stuff? Is there any recommendations?
You cut out. All I heard was, are there any good recommendation books for what topic?
Psychology.
Psychology. I'll have to go back and take a look at what I've read. I know the answer is yes as it pertains to sales. I would really look into NLP. There's courses on that. There's studies on it. There are, I'm sure there's tons of literature that's been published about it. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which is the study of human excellence. So how people operate, it has a lot to do with hypnosis, framing your words, things like that. Stephen Covey is a really big author when it comes to like sales. So if you're talking about like sales fundamentals, I would talk to him. He's like one of the godfathers of sales. I would listen to some of Grant Cardone's earlier work when it comes to sales. A lot of Jordan Belfort's earlier work when it comes to sales. And a lot of the sales trainings that you're going to see that are out there are trainings that focus that have a lot to do with psychology, because that's all sales is. Sales is nothing more but understanding people and how to have conversations with them. That's what NLP is, the study of human excellence. So I would start there. In those few ideas that I gave you will lead you in a bunch of different rabbit holes and books. But I just made a move and I don't have all my books with me, but I do have some books on psychology that I've read. So if you can send me a text message once I go back to my other house, I can take a look for you. But definitely get started with those recommendations. Look into those.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyone else? On any questions, input? All right, so 5, 4,
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
So I came in a little bit late, sorry, but I'm glad you guys are recording it. I could hear it over. But so when you talk to someone and they say, hey, do you have any more questions? And they're talking about something like us, like I consider myself newer and I don't maybe have all the answers. So that's when you say, well, we'll go back to your lender and look at the numbers. And is that what I heard you say?
Yeah, so I mean, so they're gonna have, we're talking about if your client already got approved and
Okay.
they already met with the lender and now they're scared because of the news articles, their friends and family are talking about the interest rates. We're talking about how to handle the objection after the fact, after this. So
Okay.
after that's already happened with the buyer, which is a really popular objection that a lot of people are getting right now. So it's afterwards, yeah.
So I'll go back and hear it, but if I have any questions, I probably will have questions.
Yeah,
Thank you, though.
Yeah, you already know, you can reach out. Anyone else? We're at 9:30, want to respect everyone's time. Okay, all right, Catherine says for real estate, I like the big money energy. I think that was from Ryan Serhant. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You guys have the framework. I'll repeat it one more time. Then after that, you guys have a healthy, happy, productive day. One more time is acknowledge and align. Step number 2 is isolate. And then the expert version is shift the script and handle. Number 4 is anchor the agreement. Number 5 is close it up at the end of it. And when you close it up, it should be nothing more than a natural ending to the conversation. That's all it is. Capture and again, today was only the framework. It was not focused on the conversation in between. It was just the framework. You can fill in the words. Next Wednesday, when we go back to objection handling, I will focus on the words in conversation, how to get micro agreements every time you're having that conversation with people, how to get them to say yes, how to frame your questions so they end up in a yes. those are important because at the very end, when you close, you want to have those collected already by the end of it. That's very important to get people to say yes throughout the conversation, because when you close on them, like, hey, let's get ready to partner up, they're already saying yes. And that's later on. Today was strictly the framework. So now you know the framework, fill in the words yourself. If you have any questions, reach out, we'll be here to help. Have a productive day, everyone. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.